Democrats need to get their together because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing, to me, symbolized that more than this video. I would love to have AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren, but I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
In his most recent on-air outburst, Ma unleashed a fiery storm against the Democrats, accusing them of bowing down to the so-called woke mob. According to him, the majority of Democrats are still sensible, calm, and rational voices. Yet it's the radical fringe pulling the entire party into turmoil. Ma spared no mercy, dragging them harshly through the mud, turning it all into sharp, biting comedy. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss explosive takedowns like this.
Having to Stormy Daniels was wrong, but Trump didn't hide from the camera. Quite the opposite. It looks like he said to the photographer, "Widen that out so you can get these tits."
Maher dropped the very insult Democrats fear the most. He dared to compare them with Trump. For a party that prides itself on moral superiority and treats Trump as the ultimate low point in politics, such a statement felt like betrayal. But Maher didn't hesitate for a second. He spoke what they could never bring themselves to admit. Trump, for all his flaws, showed more courage. Love him or hate him, the man confronted his scandals directly, never retreating into silence. In contrast, Democrats, Maher argued, tremble before the woke mob, too afraid to defend their own stance. And in that timidity, he believes, lies a weakness even greater than the one they condemn in Trump.
He's got his mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. He's literally got a guy working for him named Big Balls. It's like if Gavin Newsom had a henchman named Perfect Hair.
Ma kept building his unusual praise for Trump, not only for owning up to his messes and facing them directly, but also for daring to stand against the woke mob. During his presidential run, Trump never tried to appease them. Instead, he openly mocked their agenda and boldly declared what he planned to do if handed power. And the shocking part? Voters rewarded him for it. Democrats, meanwhile, cowered in fear of the same mob, bending over backwards to win approval. And as Ma reminded everyone, the outcome of that surrender is plain for the world to see.
People ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. The Republicans, they show up. And when they do, they take their beating like a man.
Even Maher's audience, a crowd largely left-leaning and almost guaranteed DNC voters, couldn't resist applauding Republicans. Think about that for a moment. When your own base is clapping for the opposition, it's more than irony, it's humiliation for Democrats. According to Maher, the party's leadership has crumbled into a nervous bundle of fear, terrified of voter backlash, anxious about donors, activists, and even the relentless outrage of their Twitter following. Meanwhile, Republicans march boldly into the den of the woke mob, fists raised, ready to take the punches if they must. They'd rather fight and fall than bow and flatter. And it's this very contrast, Maher argues, that exposes why Democrats are failing and why Republicans, even in defeat, seem stronger.
He went down to Mar-a-Lago and kissed his ass after that.
Oh, bullshit.
When the Mueller report came out, I feel like you mischaracterized it, and I feel that was shady. But you campaigned for election deniers in 2022. This I do not forgive. The Republicans, including you, January 6th, etc., are the ones who are no longer willing to play by the rules of democracy. Amendment 22, no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice. And yet you keep talking about Trump's maybe you should have this. Here, just put that.
Love them or hate them, these Republicans have displayed a kind of grit that demands recognition. They face criticism head-on, no matter who stands against them, and they do it without a single flinch. That fearless posture, unapologetic, steady, and unafraid, is exactly what Bill Maher has been underscoring. Unlike others, they don't collapse under pressure, they don't bend to every outrage cycle, and they certainly don't disguise themselves just to win cheap applause. Instead, they fight openly, with their heads held high, embracing the battle for what it is. And in that defiance, they've managed to earn not only Maher's reluctant respect, but even mine. Because sometimes it's your fiercest rivals who remind you what real backbone actually looks like.
I would love to have AOC on the show, and Mandami and Elizabeth Warren, but I can't subpoena the guests. And I can't fix that what the Democrats are scared of more than anything else, I mean, obviously besides gluten, is being primaried from the far left, even though most Democrats are not far left. They're mild-mannered and moderate, at least at my bathhouse.
By now, everyone knows why figures like AOC and Zorain Mani would never dare set foot on Bill Maher's stage. They've become the poster children of wokeness, champions of a brand of performative politics Maher has absolutely no tolerance for. In their own echo chambers, every slogan earns cheers, and every radical notion goes unchallenged. But on Maher's set, that safety net vanishes. They'd be forced to defend their ideas under relentless fire, and he'd slice straight through the theatrics. That's exactly why they treat his invitation like it's radioactive. Because stepping into Maher's arena means watching their carefully polished narrative unravel right before a live audience.
If there is one practical thing that Democrats can do right now that would help them regain power, it's never speak to Trump in person. No, I'm kidding, that's stupid. No, it's this: inspire your moderates to vote in the primaries. Get that base excited. You have the numbers. After Congressman Moulton made his comment about his daughter not getting run over, he added, "But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, then change what you're supposed to be afraid of.
The creeping fear inside the Democratic Party is slowly paralyzing it, and Bill Maher isn't shy about mocking that collapse. To him, this is a movement drifting toward ruin, weighed down by timidity and indecision. And Maher, a man who has supported Democrats for decades, refuses to stand by silently as they sink to the bottom. What stings him most is the bitter irony. Democrats aren't fighting the decay, they're feeding it. Instead of taking control, they've surrendered the wheel to the woke mob, granting every demand while silencing any dissent. That isn't leadership, it's self-inflicted sabotage. Maher paints the image of a ship already taking on water, its captains drilling even more holes into the hull, all in the desperate name of appeasement. Unless they rediscover their courage, he warns, Democrats will continue to drown, dragged under by the very mob they fear most.
Democrats need to get their together because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video.
Desperately needs a strong second party to keep power in balance. But what it does not need is a party swallowed whole by wokeness. No one is asking for a political movement that shoves anti-common sense ideas down the nation's throat under the banner of progress. We don't need leaders who preach tolerance, yet can't stomach a single opposing voice. And we certainly don't need politicians who wave the flag of free speech, only to cancel and silence the moment words don't fit their narrative. That's not democracy. That's hypocrisy dressed up as virtue. True democracy thrives on open debate, disagreement, and the honest clash of ideas, not on censorship parading as moral progress. A second party should stand firm, rational, and unafraid to face challenges head-on. What it cannot become is a hollow echo chamber of wokeness, punishing independent thought while rewarding blind conformity. Because that, Maher warns, is the very opposite of freedom.
Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true. First off, the man is at a Coldplay concert. And while Republicans could like Coldplay, they don't, but they could. It's unlikely that this guy is a Christian conservative because he was having an affair with a woman. No, I knew they were Democrats for the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval Office. Damn, if only the lady at the Coldplay concert had brought some folders with her, maybe she wouldn't be in hot water today.
Hilarious and painful to watch, and Bill Maher doesn't hold back in pointing it out. Again and again, he rips into Democrats for lacking the one thing they desperately need, a backbone. Time after time, he shows how quickly they puff up their chests, acting bold and self-righteous when it comes to spinning outrageous stories about Trump or scrambling to clean up their own political blunders. In those moments, they look fierce, determined, almost unstoppable. But the second the spotlight shifts to the woke mob, that courage evaporates. Suddenly, the same leaders who boast about fighting for the people shrink into timid chickens, terrified of backlash from fringe activists dragging their movement into chaos. Instead of leading with conviction, they bow, cave, and disguise cowardice as strategy. Maher doesn't just call out this hypocrisy, he ridicules it mercilessly. And the truth is, watching Democrats collapse this easily makes his mockery not only fair, but genuinely enter.
But Democrats seem to be afraid of everything. They were petrified of COVID, masking 2-year-olds who never would have died from it and keeping schools closed for far too long. They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. They're kids. Thinking up stupid shit is what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
One of the strangest and most baffling moves the woke left ever embraced was handing authority and influence over to children. Yes, children. They began taking advice from kids, elevating their voices, and even shaping policy around people who haven't yet decided what career to pursue, let alone figured out how the real world actually works. And it didn't stop at politics. These peculiar ideologies poured into culture, saturating television, movies, and entertainment. Almost overnight, family sitcoms and dramas flipped the narrative. Children became the enlightened voices of wisdom, while adults, the ones with real-life experience, were painted as clueless, bumbling, and outdated. It was a calculated rewriting of roles, training society to see kids as visionaries and dismiss adults as out-of-touch relics. The result? An entire generation encouraged to believe that immaturity equals insight, while genuine experience and earned authority were mocked, minimized, and cast aside as
I mean, I don't know if we're still banning TikTok. That was before we changed the rule in America to Trump decides what's a law. But I know it wouldn't even be an issue if parents would sack up and tell their kids to get off the fucking phone. Democrats are still afraid of the mean girls who police their far-out fringe. Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton had a perfect score on LGBTQ issues from the Human Rights Campaign. But when he said, "I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete," his own campaign manager quit. And the chair of the Salem Democratic City Committee, Liz Bratt, accused Moulton of being, quote, what is known as a cooperator in Nazi times. Yeah, I think the word you're looking for, moron, is collaborator. And I'm guessing everything you know about Nazi times comes from TikTok.
One of the most striking traits of the woke left, Maher argues, is their uncanny habit of devouring their own. They parade themselves as champions of tolerance. Yet the moment one of their own dares to question the narrative or think differently, the knives are out. Many well-known leftists have quietly walked away, not because they suddenly embraced conservatism, but because they could no longer endure the suffocating intolerance festering within their own ranks. This movement, Maher says, thrives on a single rule: absolute conformity or absolute cancellation. Step even slightly out of line, sing a slightly different tune, and you're chewed up and discarded like yesterday's news. Loyalty doesn't matter. Years of preaching their gospel don't matter. Even sacrifice for the cause doesn't matter. The second you break with orthodoxy, you're branded a traitor, cut off without mercy. That ruthless self-cannibalization, Maher insists, is exactly why so many are fleeing from their side. And this is where his comedy becomes more than laughter. It becomes a mirror, a reflection of a party tearing itself apart. From their fear of the woke mob, to their hypocrisy on free speech, to the bizarre elevation of children as the supposed voices of wisdom, Democrats seem determined to prove his point again and again. Worse still, their refusal to show real courage has transformed them into the very thing they claim to despise: weak, intolerant, and ruled by the mob. Republicans, flawed and divisive as they may be, still project grit, defiance, and backbone. And until Democrats rediscover their own, Maher will keep mocking them while America keeps questioning who is truly fit to lead. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more sharp commentary and fiery takedowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.